Hello there. All right, so we started another live stream, and what the hell? That wasn't supposed to happen. All right, so hope it's better this time, but now we'll have to see. Um, had a little sound problem apparently. Emperor Benobi, you are indeed a bold one. All right, so this live stream is about getting to know me as a person a bit more thoroughly. Um, well, let's just start. Most people are already aware of my first name. My real life name is Chris, but um, yeah, that's what there is to say about it. I am soon to be 25 years old, actually, next week, from the time this video is uploaded, that is. And yeah, I'm from Denmark. Um, so, all right, so why do I actually have Star Wars as my main theme on my channel? And Stupendous Wave just uploaded a new video I can see. Um, all right, Ben. Now, how did my interest in Star Wars actually start? Well, you see, I was about 5 years old back in 1998. My mom and her husband had just moved into a new house, and they had got a computer. Um, a Windows 98 computer. I know, that was huge back then. And I saw my mom actually playing a game on the computer. I was like, Mom, what's that? Welcome back, Ben. And she said, well, I'm playing Star Wars. And I'm like, what's Star Wars? And then I tried it. She showed me the X-Wing, the Y-Wing, and the A-Wing, as well as the T-47 Landspeeder, or Snowspeeder, as they're mostly referred to as. Um, she then let me try it myself, and I really liked it. And my interest for Star Wars actually already began there. However, it was actually a combined effort between my mom and my dad, which had divorced when I was 1.5 years old. They I don't even think that they were aware of it themselves, and they usually couldn't very well work together. But um, it was kind of a collective effort, so to speak, and they indoctrinated me into Star Wars because I told my dad that I had been playing it. Then he asked me if I had seen that huge black man with a red lightsaber, and I'm like, who? So my dad said that he had the Star Wars movie. Now remember, this was back in '98, which was before the Phantom Menace came out, a year before. So we just had VHS back then. DVD wasn't really out yet. I'm not sure when they came out. And he showed me episode 4. So we saw it, and I was hooked. Now, all the way out through my life, Star Wars has actually been something that I thoroughly enjoyed ever since, since I was 5. But uh, what really set it apart from everything else was the fact that I endured a lot of bullying in my early life, in my early school life, and not many things went well. There was a lot of conflict on both sides of the family, and that took a heavy toll. But apart from that, I always had one thing that I could always go back to, which was Star Wars. It always gave me some peace, and I was allowed to be myself. Created my own little fantasy universe often, and so Ben just commented here, I was introduced to Star Wars through school when my friends played games about the Clone Wars in the schoolyard. What Clone Wars game? Well, while you're answering that, I was being bullied, and during Christmas in 1999, like droids versus clones. Not sure what game exactly you're talking about, but please do feel free to tell us more. Um, so, during Christmas 1998, I got my first real Lego Star Wars set, which was the X-Wing. And I started collecting from there. I was 5 years old. I stopped officially collecting back in 2016, I think it was. And yeah, now most of the Lego sets are packed down, but I still have a few standing. Like, I took this one down just for good measure. So, but yeah, during all the bullying in the early Dance for Republic credits. Do you hear Dance for Republic credits, or do you need something more real? Well, what can I say? No, credits will not do fine. Some kids choose a side, and each side goes to the opposite side of the schoolyard. Then we use to shoot. So that's how it was. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, hey, Monty. Long time no see. How are you doing? So, that's awesome. Welcome to the stream, man. And welcome to Kylo as well, by the way. So, well, hello there. Well, since I actually began collecting, it has all amounted up to quite a bit in Lego Star Wars. If I have to make a rough estimation, I would say that there is about 100, between 130 and 150 Lego sets in the collection currently. As I said, most of them are packed down. I have the Millennium Falcon here next to me. I have the Super Star Destroyer up there. I can't turn the camera, unfortunately. But other than that, yeah, you can go to the channel, and last time I uploaded a collection video, which I regret that I didn't upload another one before I had to pack the collection down. I made a collection video back in 2014. So, but yeah, collecting Lego all the way through my life was a way to help stop all the bullying that happened, and I never had many friends, but the few friends that I had were always close friends. One of them I'm still friends with today, and we've been friends since I was 7. As I said in the beginning of the video, I'm turning 25 next week, so can kind of guess where that's going. But yeah, when I packed the collection down, I actually had another friend helping me, and my girlfriend, of course, and one of her friends. But it was mainly one of my other good friends whom I've been friends with since I was 11, and it was actually really scary because we'd been going from my dad's old house to my friend's apartment with boxes upon boxes. The car was stuffed. Like, I think several times we took both my old car, put the seats down, emptied the trunk from everything, and then put stuff in there. You should have asked for help. Help with what, man? But yeah, we packed all the. Or are you referring to packing down the Lego sets? Or is it because you actually want to take them yourself? Well, regardless, what actually happened then was that eventually we had to get the Super Star Destroyer out. Now, I'm not sure how much it is in inches, but the Super Star Destroyer, when fully built, is 124.3 centimeters. about as long as this table that I'm sitting at right now. But the thing is, though, that it's kinda that was a bit hectic. We had to no, not buy, we had to drive like, I don't know, around 15 miles or something like that. While it may not seem like a lot, the thing is that we couldn't exactly pack the Superstar Destroyer down. So what we had to do then was, I was sitting with it in my lap. I had to hold it like this constantly. I was slowly resting one of its supporting pillars on my thigh, and just kind of sit there with it, kind of keeping it like this in my hands all the time to make sure that I could counter whatever movement or hole there was in the road and whatever strange movement in the car while my friend drove. That was a bit hectic. Um, and imagine this, when we were inside the car, there was this much space. There was this much space left when the Superstar Destroyer in its full length was stretching across in the car from one side to the other. So that was a bit hectic. Most problems can be solved with the appropriate amount of explosives. You just go ahead, but don't take the Legos. At least not my Lego sets. Don't try it. But yeah. So yeah, you must do what you feel is right, of course. Yeah, in my head I'm reading it at Obi-Wan's voice. Thank you very much. And yes, I know you're a voice actor. I've seen it and I've heard it before. So good. But yeah. So because of all the bullying that happened in my past, I was very introverted. I held myself back a lot of the time, and I didn't really want to talk to a lot of people. I didn't feel good in big crowds. I still don't always feel too good about bigger crowds, but it's gone better. Um, Through time, however, I kind of also just evolved as a person, and during 2010 was when I really started getting active through politics as well. Joined one of the political parties here in the country and their youth department, and then we started going on political campaigns and whatever not, and we actually had a lot of fun with it. Um, that department later fell apart as people grew, and none of the new members were really properly indoctrinated and such, so it kind of fell apart. Sad but true. I also chose to leave the party eventually, going my own way. So, but yeah, now every day, since I don't have so much time on YouTube, I am working a lot at a company named Linak, LINAK.com. Um, and, well, the slogan for the company is "We improve your life." So, working in their warehouse department there as an apprentice, and supposed to have my final exam next year during the summer. So, now let's see. You know, working for Lego, the thought had actually struck me. Um, I've also been trying to kind of custom make my own kind of Lego set on Lego Digital Designer. It was actually a project I've had going since 2011 or 12, and I haven't exactly finished yet. It is. I made a video about it back in 2013, and I just made some small tweaks to it here and there since then. So that video is pretty much still relevant. But yeah, working for Lego was definitely an idea. But I just don't have the creativity to really build all those huge things, and yeah, it's difficult. But I would love to do it if I had the chance. So, also, now that I have the Millennium Falcon right here next to me, there have been people asking if I could do a Millennium Falcon versus Slave 1 video, and I might as well just come to a conclusion now. If it came to a versus match between the Millennium Falcon and the Slave 1, depending on the configuration, I think the Slave 1 would win. People are probably not going to agree with this, but that's up to them. I would love to hear the arguments. But my reasoning for it is simply put the fact that the Slave 1 can be piloted by one person, and it can be all the weapons can be fired by one person alone. The only problem with the Slave 1 is the fact that it can be outflanked. Problem with the Millennium Falcon is, however, that you can't really fire any weapons from the cockpit. You have to man the turrets in the top and or the bottom, or both. And that is a serious issue because you're going to need at least 4 people in the ship to really operate it. At least if we take the configuration of the Millennium Falcon that we have in episode 4. I can actually show you a bit here. Let's see now if this is going to go well or if it's going to be a disaster. Alright, so, no, this is only a Lego model, but it's going to illustrate it very well regardless. See, the thing is, usually there had to be 2 people in the middle where the gun's supposed to be. This is the Luke from the Lego Visual Dictionary. But there had to be one controlling both the top and the bottom turrets here. Problem is, it's not really a possibility if you're only one person or only Han and Chewie, like the majority of the time. So, and while that means that the Millennium Falcon cannot be outflanked, but can really demonstrate it because the Slave 1, both models have been packed down. So, but remember that the Slave 1 in general has a massive flat surface at the back, meaning that it can't really see anything, you can't shoot anything there or something like that. It's just a great flat area that's a massive target. Something that the Millennium Falcon actually doesn't have, because first of all, it has a turret in the top and in the bottom. Second of all, those turrets rotate pretty much 360 degrees and all around. You can point up, down, whatever. So in all honesty, it's really difficult to actually outflank the Millennium Falcon. It's not possible. The Slave 1, however, just has that big massive surface where the engine thrusters are, and frankly, you can't see a damn thing behind you. So if the Millennium Falcon came up behind the Slave 1, it could win if there is more crew in it than only Chewie and Han. Otherwise, the Slave 1 would win. Also, Millennium Falcon is not exactly a ship meant specifically for combat, which the Slave 1 was pretty much optimized to be. At least under Boba Fett and Jango Fett. So, there's that. And of course, my signature drink. Apfelschorle. No, it's not beer. It is fizzy, however. I know it looks like beer, but it's not. It's apple juice with carbonated water. Some may think it sounds disgusting, others might like it. I don't know. Apple juice is about the only Apple product I'm ever going to get. Alright. Demonstrating when the Slave 1... Oh, yeah. I read that. Yeah. Sorry about that, Ben. Showing the bottom of the Millennium Falcon was the best thing I could pretty much do. When I get to move to a bigger apartment again, and when I actually am able to get some shelves put up and such, I might start unpacking the Lego collection again. Seeing what tweaks I can do there to illustrate it in the best light possible and such. The problem is that it was the perfect setting down at my dad's old house, which unfortunately he sold. Yeah, that was a pity, but not much you can do. So now I'm wondering, has anyone here ever gotten a speed ticket? Me neither. Probably because I'm not driving an Audi. Oh, you have? Why'd you get a speed ticket? In any case, I guess they didn't. Well, obviously. But apart from that, why were you speeding? Lovely. Mobile speed camera. Lovely. I guess they didn't accept Republic credits. So. But yeah, what car are you driving, just for curiosity's sake? Oh. Well. Well, then again, Skoda is owned by Volkswagen, so that makes sense. While I know it's made in, while I know Skoda is made in the Czech Republic, I'm still a bit iffy on it because reports say in Denmark that the people with the biggest amount of speed tickets are actually people driving German cars. And since Skoda is owned by Volkswagen, which is German, then there's me. I was close to getting a speed ticket once. Fortunately, a Mercedes was blinking at me, signaling, "Hey, there is a speed control. There is a we call it Fahrtkontroll." Yep. Up ahead. So I managed to hit the brakes just around the corner, and there he was. I know they did. Panzerkampfwagen 38T is one of them, and the Jagdpanzer 38T, some refer to it as Hetzer, was also built by the Czech Republic, back then Czechoslovakia. Hello there, Admiral, and welcome to the stream. But yeah, I was wondering if I should get a tank license because, well, some people do call my car a tank. It's not a Saab, but it's a Volvo V70. And it's already killed an Opel once that crashed into it. No, but yeah, Volvo, car, or tank, pretty much the same thing. How are you doing, Admiral? Oh, my day pretty good. Or I wouldn't say day, I would more say late evening here, but it's pretty good so far. And now Discord has awoken. After the live stream started, of course. So, but yeah, I was close to getting a speed ticket, but fortunately, I was saved in the process. So, so Tarkin, what car are you driving now? Let's see. I'm actually wondering if the Millennium Falcon is still complete or not, or if there's a piece missing or whatever. There is actually a piece missing. That's sad. Okay, Leia, Obi-Wan, Luke, Vader, and Han and Chewie in the cockpit. So that's how it should be. See if anything's gonna fall if I do this, but no. Yeah, I'm keeping the Millennium Falcon here just for inspirational purposes. And because it's one of the most iconic ships that you can find. Like, who doesn't know the Millennium Falcon? Don't answer that. So. And also, got this little baby here back. Hello, Grievous, and welcome to the stream. So, there's just one problem with this thing now. The kill key's not in it. So, should actually work. Problem is, it doesn't. I think it has a loose connection somewhere, which is a problem, so I'm gonna fix it eventually. Sometimes it just randomly ignites, and it's... If I ever will let my facial hair grow out, no. I like keeping it the way it is. So. But yeah, gotta get the lightsaber fixed eventually. Which should happen before November, because then I'm going to another convention. Just like the one I was at during the summer. Oh, now we'll see what's gonna happen after. So, I'm also thinking about going to Sci-Fi Con next year. And last time I attended a con, I showed during the last live stream that I made that I actually fought Darth Nihilus. He found the wrong Jedi to mess with. But as I told in the last live stream, it was like I briefly went in just to scout the area, see the products, seeing the people that were there. I saw Darth Nihilus and some people dressed up as Imperial officers. I was like, you know what, heck with it. I went out to the car, got the costume, went to one of the bathrooms, changed, went back in, and just as I went in, I was activating the lightsaber, and that was when Darth Nihilus just randomly came by. We both took up a battle position, circled around each other. And then, yeah. Hello there, Darth Supremacy, and welcome. Or should I say, welcome to the Senate. Even though this is not the Senate, but hey, what can you do? So. So there's actually been, oh yeah. Thank you, Grievous. Oh, but the funny thing about the story was actually that it was all so random. Like, it just happened completely... Ah, I see now. I remember you from Discord. So, welcome. The funny thing about the story was the fact that it all just happened so randomly. Like, we didn't know each other. We'd never seen each other before. We just took up battle positions and crossed blades, and we had a few pictures with it. After that, we just walked around the con together and just spoke and whatnot. It was actually really pleasant. Later on, I discovered that the guy behind the Darth Nihilus costume... Don't know a good Sith name you would ever use. That's a good question. I don't know either. So, but you walked around the con, we just spoke, and it turned out that the guy behind the Darth Nihilus costume was actually the big brother of one of my best friends from the boarding school, which I also told in the last live stream. But for the people who don't know, there's the story. So I got back into contact with one of my former good buddies, and that was really wonderful. Well, Admiral, there's your answer. So, okay, so there's actually... I think I would like to actually also tell people why I decided to make versus videos. I decided to actually make versus videos because, well, first of all, I felt like it. Second of all, I have been playing Star Wars Empire at War and various mods over the years, and I often wondered how could we see how could we see some versus videos, or how could we see some certain ships versus each other, which we never really saw facing each other on screen. And I honestly would say that I also stumbled over Antoine Bandelay on YouTube, and later on Evan Nova, Jen Sarai, and Grey Jedi, and Reti 4. That's a nice conversation in the comments. I stumbled into them, and it actually started with me watching the video with pre-suit Vader versus suited Darth Vader on Antoine Bandelay's channel back in 2014. I didn't know how to exactly put videos together like that, but eventually I figured it out, and I decided that I'd always actually wanted to see a match between the AAT versus the TX-130 Saber class tank, which is also known as the Republic Fighter tank. Little speedy demon. In short bursts, it can go up to 200 miles an hour or 320 kilometers an hour. I figured it was you, Katie. Unless you said it before. Can't remember. So. Greek Spartans versus Navy SEALs. Good question. Oh, but actually, the first two versus videos were made in Windows Movie Maker, and they were recorded with the actual microphone in the laptop. Believe it or not. Yeah, I think so too. And the Navy SEALs are probably also a lot better trained. Even though my knowledge doesn't span very, very widely into neither the Spartans or the Navy SEAls. LordZrik? That's a possibility. So, but yeah, you have no idea how long it took me to. You have no idea how long it actually took me to put the videos together in Windows Movie Maker, because I had to extend every single picture with split seconds and whatever not to make sure that it all fit together and whatever not. And the first two versus videos that I made was the TX-130 Saber tank versus the armored assault tank of the CIS. The second versus video was the Providence versus Venator class video, which is the worst video that I have on my channel, but apparently it's the most viewed versus video. Go figure. Two prime rivals of ships. Navy SEALs are the modern version of Greek Spartans. I wouldn't know. Neither deny nor confirm that. I just know that the Spartans were incredibly tough, and so are the Navy SEALs, but so are the most of the special forces in the world. I know we have Jägerkorpset and Frömannskorpset here, the Hunter Corps and the Frogman Corps, and you don't mess with those guys. Neither do you mess with the British SAS. So, or the Navy SEALs. And yeah, my signature drink. Apple juice with carbonated water. There's a lot they won't tell. They're bound by a code of secrecy, as far as I know. That's how it goes with every kind of special forces. Right. Well, apple juice is the best, but mixed with carbonated water, some people despise it. I don't remember if my wife likes it or not, but you know, that's up to her. If she doesn't, that's just more for me. Darth Revan versus Darth Sidious. It's not exactly apple cider. Apple cider is something else. Darth Revan versus Darth Sidious. That one's easy. Darth Sidious. And also, one of the reasons why I actually have never done characters is because there are other YouTubers out there who do those kind of versus videos. Yeah, and apple juice is also the only Apple product I'm ever gonna get. But there are so many other YouTubers out there doing those versus videos with characters. Antoine Bandelay, for example, did a video with Darth Sidious versus Darth Bane. So I'm kind of iffy about using characters because it's sad. And what Admiral Kingu said here is also very sad, that her dad died. My condolences, of course, but only thing I can tell you now is that he is one with the Force, so should be embraced. Now, I don't want to do those versus videos with characters, and that is specifically because they've been covered by other YouTubers before. Not exactly a match between Revan and Sidious, but that match is too uneven, because at the time that Revan was Darth Revan, he was far from at his most powerful, and depending on which version of Sidious that you take, he is arguably the most powerful Sith Lord to have ever existed in the Star Wars universe. Sidious has a voice in his head. There are a lot of YouTubers doing character versus character videos, but there aren't many YouTubers who actually do ship-on-ship versus videos. Eckhart's Ladder started, but that wasn't until after he'd seen that I uploaded some, because I commented on one of his, correcting one of his statements once, and then he started pumping out versus videos. So 501st versus the 212th. Ouch. Well, we've kind of seen that on Umbara, and both suffered heavy losses, so I wouldn't exactly... I honestly don't know which one of them to choose. Not sure what their recruiting requirements are and everything, and so I'm not the right person to really judge a battle between the 501st and 212th. But I will see if I can look into it, and then we'll see from there. Ginger beer with vodka and lime and ice. You're trying to get me drunk? Trust me, it won't happen. So, and I might as well tell you now, I have never been drunk. I've been tipsy, to the point where I knew that I should not drive or even get behind the wheel, but so, and yes, I agree. That's also why I'm not the right person to ask about a versus video between the 501st and 212th. They are pretty evenly matched. And as I said, we saw how they fared against each other on Umbara. Granted, they didn't know that they were actually fighting each other. I thought they were Umbarans who had taken the clone armor and weapons. So, yeah, that was a disgusting act by Punkrell. A character which, unfortunately, I do have in the LEGO collection with the Z95 Headhunter, but it's in a box. So, I actually regret that I didn't take down all my folders with instruction books, because that would have been interesting. It is an awesome set. I agree fully. If they found out they were fighting each other like on Umbara, they would turn against you. Well, that's what they did. They did turn on Krell. So, in a way, you just predicted it. You basically just made the conclusion right there. They turned on Ponkrell after they discovered it. I agree, it's not a pretty sight. Ponkrell was pretty darn powerful. Using a mix of a Jarkai, or at least dual blade fencing, except that it was actually with a saber staff. That's pretty bad. And then having two of them, which is even more extreme. Like, what I would honestly have liked to see was a battle between him and Savage Opress. It would have been interesting. Or a battle between Krell, Savage Opress, and Maul. Even though I actually hate acknowledging the fact that Maul survived, because if Qui-Gon Jinn couldn't handle a little light stick to the stomach, then how in the force of Obi-Wan's green balls could Darth Maul survive being cut in half? Makes no sense. And no, the dark side is not all powerful, so that's a bad excuse. It's always been like that from my point of view, or rather, from a certain point of view. True. True. Let's hope you hit it right. And if you hit them both, I guess it's a jackpot. Mm. P2 plot armor. Well, the Clone Wars versus Episode 3, I would have to go with Clone Wars. Like, I like Episode 3, I think it's a great movie and all, but... Oh, Phase 2, pilot armor. Yeah, why did I read it as plot armor? Anyway. Phase 2 pilot armor, yeah. I would say it's pretty good. The general consensus is that Phase 2 armor was better than Phase 1 armor, so... But yeah. But in that case, I would have to go with Episode 3. Exactly, because it was... Yeah. Well, now we're getting out. Now I'm going out on the deep waters because I'm not so much into that. Ask me about ships, but when it comes to clone armor and pilots, what I just said there was basically the extent of my knowledge on that particular subject. Again, 501st and 212 were pretty evenly matched. So, name one clone pilot. Axe. Favorite ship, looks-wise? Good question. When it comes to favorite ship, just... I don't know. In all honesty, I really can't say. But if I have to choose anything, I will probably say a Mon Calamari design of some kind. That or a Venator class Star Destroyer carrier. And no, I didn't mention Oddball, I mentioned Axe, who died above Ryloth in Season 1. I don't know if we can agree to that, Admiral. I'm not exactly into men. I Method Hawk? Didn't you mean meant or mentioned? Hey, it's alright. We all have those days. Well, true, the armor was pretty good, yeah. But that was about it. But just giving Rex a different set of armor from the seasons is was actually a pretty good choice because it also showed a little bit of, you know, it also showed a bit of character development that way, and the fact that the clones also did have some freedom to actually get something done by their own will to perhaps increase their combat performance. Hmm. Hybridized. Did he? So, but yeah, when it comes to ships, looks wise only, which design that I really like the most, I'm on Calamari ship or the Venator class Star Destroyer. That's about what I can choose there. Problem is in the fact that I pretty much like all ships, and I think they're all great. Things that I don't like so much about the Star Wars universe, however, is the Death Star. Both Death Star Prototype, Death Star 1, Death Star 2, and Star Killer Base. Well, one of the things that I like the most about Rex is the fact that he's knocking his head into something. It was actually a nod to episode 4 when the stormtrooper is actually knocking his head against the door that is opened. Originally, it was a movie mistake, but George Lucas saw the fun in it and he had a sound effect added. Yeah, and Starkiller Base isn't a lot better. And neither is the Supremacy, which has the most ridiculous ship class name that I've ever heard, called the Mega Class. Like, it is so. I don't even know how to say it properly because it's just. I just think it's dumb. Like, had they called it Supremacy Class, that would have been great. Finished your Republic City that you were working on since the last stream. Nice! Be sure to post a link to a video if you make a video of it. Oh, they didn't. And of course, they had one of those oscillators, which was completely vulnerable as soon as their shield were taken down. And then again, even though Han Solo wasn't force sensitive, even a force sensitive wouldn't be able to stop going out of light speed directly at the point, or that he wouldn't be crashing directly into the planet. But yes, the Millennium Falcon did take a few hits, bumps, and scratches in that movie. Emo Kylo Ren. It is said that Kylo Ren was actually just an illustrated version of all the fans who went completely batshit crazy and just kept complaining over the prequel trilogy. Usually, when you ask them why they think the movies are so bad, they're just like, because they're bad. We've all heard that before. When you challenge their opinions, they usually shut up, which is wonderful. Gives a little peace. Mountain Dew with pineapple juice, orange juice, and sangria. Like, Mountain Dew with orange juice, I can agree to, but pineapple, just no, get that thing away. Like, it should still be prohibited to put pineapple on pizza. And then, of all things, it was called Hawaii. Pineapple pizza called Hawaii, of all things, and it was actually made in Canada. Well, Admiral, that's what some people claim. I haven't actually seen a scientific study proving it, so for all I know, that could be a rumor. But I don't know. I'm just waiting right now for the lightsaber to actually ignite, which it sometimes randomly does if I don't have the kill key in, and it's actually fairly annoying because one night it woke me up. So, yeah. And problem is, we take it here. You did? I'll check it after the stream. If you take a look at the lightsaber itself, this button here should actually, this little ring here should actually be illuminated in the color of the lightsaber. Something that it's not. So it could randomly turn on because the kill key is out, because otherwise you couldn't see the charging port here. Because then the kill key, which is here, would be popped in. One night I just left it like this above my bed and at the window, and then all of a sudden it turned on. And I haven't exactly lowered the volume, which it does have a setting. It does enable you to actually lower the volume. So yeah, which is a pity though, because it's a really beautiful saber and it's nice and heavy. It's matchstick. Oh yes. Yeah, his Y-wing blew up in the nebula, didn't it? Or was it right before? Sorry, after the nebula, against the battle with the Malevolence. It's a real pity, though. This thing is a masterful craftsmanship, and it's a wonder to hold, a wonder to fight with. Custom minifigure. That's nice. How'd you manage to get him? Now this thing is almost empty. That's bad. But yeah, it's about to turn into my signature drink. Done 2 live streams, and both of them been drinking the same thing. You know a friend who can make you one? That's pretty awesome. If I had a second V19 Torrent or a second Y-wing, I would probably have you put me into contact with him. Would be nice if you could send one. So now, good question. Ben, you have a question? All right. So back onto the subject with the versus videos. I had seen Antoine Bandelet, Reti 4, Grey Jedi, Evan Nova 95, and Jen Sarai make different versus videos, and through time I was kind of like, I wanted to make some versus videos too, and actually wanted to for a long time. I just didn't know how. So I tried to think it through my head, and then I came up with a solution and how to make them and such. So I tried. And yeah. I also decided to make some top 5s. Unfortunately, they have never made it very far. Well, enjoy your dinner, Grievous, and have a great evening. But yeah, it was actually through them that I drew my inspiration to actually also make the versus videos, because now I kind of I had seen what kind of a base they had and what they had done, and so I decided to try and give it a chance. In the beginning, there wasn't so much of a 5-point matrix as I'm using now, that I'm basing every versus video on. Basic introduction, history, general things and aspects, speed and maneuvering, offensive and defensive capabilities, and finally the verdict and closing thoughts. I didn't have that exact matrix or style back then. The only thing that actually irritates me about versus videos is the fact that I commented on Eckhart's ladder back then, because it was after that he actually started making versus videos. There have been quite a few people who also commented on my YouTube videos saying that I copied him, which is in fact not true. Um, and if I've ever drawn inspiration from someone, I've always listed them and told them personally, but always made my own. Got inspiration? Yes. Copied anyone? Never. And I'm not going to do that either. But that's one of the reasons why I'm not so fond of Eckert's ladder in general, because dyeing their hair, neutral towards it. If they want to dye their hair, they want to dye their hair. It's up to them, as long as they're happy with it. So, if they want to, they could dye their hair pink and I still wouldn't care. If it makes them happy, that's awesome. If it doesn't make them happy, I would say you shouldn't have colored it. Or they could dye it again. Problem is, too much hair dye can ruin the hair pretty quickly. So, but about hair dyes, I did actually have my hair dyed once. I decided to try and have it black. Huge mistake. That's pretty cool. And if it makes you happy and if that's what you like, then that's pretty cool. That's awesome. But yeah, imagine me with black hair. Absolutely horrible. Although I was too young to have a beard back then, but still, it was absolutely horrible. Although I kind of liked it when it kind of faded in the color and got more brownish, but that was back then. And why do your lips hurt? Well, my tongue hurts, but that's because I bit it earlier today. Kicks. Something tells me it's a clone, but I can't remember who exactly. Oh, I see now. Well, I hope you got them pierced by the right people, because it's a direct way for an infection, and then it's going to hurt you real bad. 501st Medic? Wasn't that Jesse? At least in the episode where Rex was shot. Wasn't it Jesse who was the medic there? I may be wrong. As I said, clones aren't exactly my specialty. So, but I don't know. Good thing I said I thought it was. So it wasn't a direct conclusion there. Okay. This thing is getting lighter and lighter, and I don't like it. But hey, it tastes good, so. Yeah. I was wondering if I should do some more top 5 videos. Problem is that they've never really made it very far on the channel, so that's kind of why I've been keeping myself from doing top 5 videos. However, if there are some people who want a top 5 video, that's awesome. Well, that's pretty cool. Spending the night with your big sister. I hope you have fun. But, oh, don't worry. I know. We spoke. So yeah, well, if there are some top 5s that you want me to make, then sure, go right ahead. Although I will notify everyone now that top 5s are my personal. Again with the clones? Damn it, Bricks. Or should I say Emperor Ben? Top 5 dreadnoughts? Does that include the dreadnought class heavy cruiser? Or do you mean ships from 5,000 kilometers and up in length? Because it's pretty limited how many dreadnoughts there are. But I could put a list together. So, but remember though, that when it comes to top 5s, in versus videos I have to be a lot more strict with myself, and well, that's a good one too. Top 5 species in the New Hope. Yeah, Dreadnought class heavy cruisers, they're 600 meters long. Actually, they are, spoiler alert, they are actually incorporated in the next versus video that is coming out against another ship that we have seen before. Which one, I will not reveal, but the Dreadnought class heavy cruiser is there. So, top 5 all-terrain variants. That's a good one, actually. So, we'll compile a list of them, or add them to the previous list that I made last time, after the live stream is over. So, but top 5 AT variants, that's a pretty good one. As well as the Dreadnoughts, of course. But, yeah, remember that these top 5s, they are not factual or anything. They're just my personal point of view. Top 5 troop gunships, do they even have that many? I know about the LAAT, or all low altitude assault transport, but oh yeah, and then they have the infantry version and the carrier version. Carrier version usually being a bit bigger because it could transport things like the ATT and ATOT stormtrooper variants. Ryan Johnson is a piece of garbage. Now that I will not comment on, because let's face it, he did some things that I personally thought was complete pointless and stupid, but he also did show some things that hasn't really been shown before. Like portraying Luke in the most pure version that a Jedi can actually be. Stopping an entire army, saving a lot of lives, and never causing one casualty, never causing one single act of violence to the enemy. If you ask me, that's the most pure indication of a Jedi that you can pretty much be. So, hyperspace ramming. About that, Star Wars Explained, actually, I think it was Star Wars Explained, actually made a video there. And to sum it up, remember how the shields were very external on the MC-85 called the Radis? You know, the one that actually made the jump to lightspeed into the Supremacy, Snoke's flagship. Top 5 bounty hunters, that's a good one. And top 5 stormtrooper variants, that's a good one too. So, but yeah, hyperspace ramming. If you remember the shields on that Mon Calamari cruiser, let's face it, top 5 Emperor Bens. What? You mean he has alt accounts and you want me to put his alt accounts up against each other on the top 5 list? I'm not sure if he actually has an alt account, but oh. Now we're getting into the realm of fiction here, aren't we? Not that we haven't been for pretty much the entire live stream. But yeah, the thing about the OP ramming and such was actually the fact that, do you remember when the Supremacy and some of the and some of the Resurgent class Star Destroyers fired on the MC-985, the Raddus. Yeah, it had an extra shield, an extra external shield. Now, no doubt, Mon Calamari shields have always been incredibly powerful. They've always been, it's always been their edge because in armor and firepower, they did not stack up to an Imperial Star Destroyer, but they did in targeting systems and shielding. So, of course, that carried over. Um, the thing is, though, that this shield was also what is called a thermal shield, which means that it could stop physical projectiles as well. It wasn't just like a normal deflector shield that could absorb all plasma-based weapons like ion cannons and turbo lasers, but it could also take physical objects, so there's that. And it wasn't actually so much the Raddus itself that split the Supremacy in two. It was actually because the shield came in first. Like, all the shield was directed to the front after the ship had turned around, and then it struck into the Supremacy, it weakened the superstructure, and then the Raddus came at a split second after, and basically that is what carved up the Supremacy. Good idea. Go check up on them, make sure they're safe, especially after the hurricane. And may the force be with you, always. Remember that the droid was unloaded onto Millennium Falcon? What droid are we talking about again? You mean R2-D2 and C-3PO? Or do you mean that little remote probe droid thingy that Luke was training with? Because when you say a droid that boarded the Millennium Falcon, or do you mean the one from the Solo movie? Spoiler alert, but Solo came out almost half a year ago. Okay, so you mean the Solo movie? Because if you did, that makes sense. Well, the Solo movie got a horrible box office, was received horribly at the box office, but honestly, I think it was a pretty good movie. Definitely had some classic Han Solo moves and scenes, but it also had some iffy things. That's all I'm going to say about that. Well, that's up to you. That's fortunately why we all have our own personal preferences. So yeah. But the Solo movie, I can recommend it. And it definitely has a lot of Easter eggs for Star Wars fans in general. So it's like Rogue One. It's a movie made for the fans. Rikus from the Discord server? That's cool. I also actually just got some pictures today. Oh, I see. So why is it bad that he's looking at you when he's your boyfriend? Katie? I mean, I also look at my wife pretty much every day. And if she's not here, I'm looking at pictures. So. Uh-oh, the Discord's going off again. Oh, and what did he say about that? Well, he might not have agreed with you, and that's understandable. I'm just waiting for that blasted lightsaber to turn on. Or to boot up, because sometimes it does, other times it doesn't. Sometimes it does immediately, other times it doesn't at all. Yeah, exactly. But then again, there are some guys who are attracted to other guys, so yeah. Ah, welcome back, Emperor Bricks. It appears that the Force wasn't with you. I just read a quick pop-up on the Discord server, but now we'll have to see what's gonna happen next. So, definitely a top 5 dreadnoughts, top 5 AT vehicles. But yeah, remember that the top 5s are only my personal favorites. There are no facts or anything like that. Well, there are some facts, but I'm not putting them up against each other like that. I'm just putting them up in the scale that I think this one's more awesome than that one. Whereas the versus videos is where I have to be a bit more strict with myself. You just imagine when I'm a massive or major fan of Mon Calamari ships, and they're my favorites and New Republic ships. You just imagine how hard of a time I actually have being unbiased when it comes to that. I'm really doing my best there, but it's not easy. So, nice emojis, Katie. Nice emojis. So, but yeah, Bricks, when you can, I would suggest you try and message your friends again, just to make sure that they're safe, especially after the hurricane. So. And it also struck at a really bad time when it was a time of mourning for the US, but I will have to see what's going to happen next. So, but yeah, if there's anything you would like to ask, like personal questions and such, because this stream is actually about getting to know me, so if there's anything you're curious about, I would suggest ask away. If there are some things that I think are or if there are some questions that I think have gone too far, I will of course tell you about it. But apart from that, you can pretty much ask anything. Yeah. But in the meantime, I think we can all agree that the most awesome clone of them all is Rex. Now that I'm not going to answer. That's a bit too personal. 125 kilos or pounds? But 125 pounds, that's nothing. Like a rough estimation is that 1 kilo is 2 pounds. So again, rough estimation. It's not completely correct, but that's the general consensus. Yeah, me too. I think I'm honestly at around 100 kilos. So yeah, I work out too. So, doing some uh, doing some daily workouts for 15 to 20 minutes to get my body going and to just briefly trigger a little bit called the afterburn effect. The fact that you don't actually burn fat or burn anything while you're working out, but you trigger something called the afterburn effect, which burns fat after. Yeah, I'm a fast runner too, for very short distances. Mostly when I get an adrenaline rush, which has actually happened a few years ago. I'd forgotten my key at the student hostel I was living at, and what happened then was the fact that I was going out to receive my pizza. That I had at a delivery. Problem is that unless other people go to unlock the door for you, you're not getting back in. It's to teach you to always remember your key, which of course I forgot. So I managed to actually run all the way back up to catch the door before it closed. It cost me a pair of jeans though because they tore between the legs. But I caught the door and I was able to get my key. Remember playing soccer when you were in high school? That's pretty cool. Was never much of a soccer player myself. I preferred alternative kinds of sport like archery, which I'm actually still pretty good at today, even though I haven't done it for a long time, but I did do some live role playing. I had 8 arrows and I put down 7 opponents. So, there are only like 2 kinds of sports that I've ever actually been good at, that I've actually ever felt that I was capable at, and that was air hockey and archery. Everything else, every other kind of sport, I suck at. So, well, I guess it has its perks, or pros and cons. Gotta be good at something. Just haven't played air hockey for a long while, and I really miss it because it was really fun. So, well, if you want to know a little bit about my address, it's in a town called Sønderborg. It's in southern Denmark. More than that, though, I will not reveal. Not when it comes to that. So, cheerleader, soccer player, NJROTC, commanding officer, and lady wrestler. Huh, that's pretty cool. Although I can't remember what the NJROTC stands for, but I think you told me once. Just can't remember though. And joking? Oh, maybe, but that's a bit difficult to tell over text sometimes, especially because you can't really read people's facial expressions and emotions when over text, so it could just as well have been a legitimate question. I actually feel like after the live stream, I want to take the Volvo for a little spin. Navy Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. That's pretty awesome. As I told you, I always wanted to go to the Navy as well, but when I had the chance, I kind of missed out on it, and then it never really got any further than that. Because I was by the Danish Royal Defense cleared to actually become part of the military if I wanted to, and I was hesitant. But if I had to go to any other branches, I would want to go to the Navy because, let's face it, I love sailing. Many times in the past, when I was a little boy, always went out fishing with my dad and went sailing and such. He has his own boat. Sadly, it hasn't been in the water for some years, so don't exactly know the state of it. That's pretty cool. The fact that you were the same rank as your big sister when you were commanding officer, that's pretty good. So, But yeah, also a short while ago, I actually did have a somewhat traumatic experience, although I think I got out of it pretty okay. Like, I just gotten out of the supermarket, and because I've been in the Danish National Home Guard too, then, or the Danish Royal Home Guard, I also had a full first aid course with practical trials, fake blood, actors, everything. Um, so what actually happened was that I had just sat down in my car, was about to start the engine, then outside I heard a big like boom. I was like, "What the hell was that?" I looked out, and then a Mercedes and a Ford had collided with each other at a crossroad, and I was 100 meters away from there, which is like, I don't know, many yards, but so I rushed over there to check if people were all right. Like, were they responding clearly to my messages? Were they kind to my words? They told me their names and such, and all the kind of basic mental first aid stuff that you do with the worst case scenario. And after that, of course, checked if they had any physical bruises and such. Luckily, they all escaped with the shock of the impact. Well, they were a bit shaken, but that was about it. The police and the ambulances arrived right after, though. So, we were a company. We were a company strong last year in my senior year. Now they're bigger than a company, a battalion strong now, and well, as you know, time never stops. It always goes forward. And what I just said there is already in the past. So as you can see, there is never going to be any time, any place, anywhere where the time is standing still. Whatever happens is already in the past. Everything that I said there is already in the past. So. Well, Ben, I would have to say that I wish that the force was going to be with you, because I am thinking about closing the stream down by now, because it's over midnight here, and I am getting slightly tired because I usually get up before 5 a.m. So yeah. Besides, the stream has almost lasted 1.5 hours again. So your dad helped build the unit from a weak point where that they were a platoon strong when he came to work there. That's pretty awesome. He did something, definitely. And if it helped people, then I would say it's definitely done the right thing and had the right impact. So, be proud. And there was the lightsaber. Now it booted on. After like 2 hours of it not having been booted on, it actually did now. As you can see here now, the button is lit. Warning to headphone users, this may get loud. As I said, warning to headphone users. I don't exactly know how far the reach of this microphone here is, so... But yeah, eventually after a long time, the lights does actually activate itself. The problem is that it's not really feasible during a convention. I do have my fears also that if I start opening that thing up, that I'm going to mess something up. But I'm not going to send it all the way to Oregon, to Saberforge in Oregon in the US by the Pacific coast, in order to actually, in order to actually have it repaired, because it's going to cost me $100 just to get it just to get it shipped, and then including repair costs. I might as well see if I can find a local here who actually knows how to handle those things. Problem is, this thing here is threaded. Screwed together in here, and here, and here as well. Problem with that is the fact, not that it's screwed together, the problem is the fact that they've glued it together as well. Well, which of course helps in durability, but it's a pain in the rear end if you want to try and open that thing up. Because it's just not possible. Like, trust me, my friend and me, we actually had a leather glove on each thing. We put this thing in a press, and we both tried to grab this thing and spin it around, and it did not budge. Getting an Anakin version for a collection. Ooh, that's pretty cool. And one of the reasons why I'm also suspecting that there's glue in this thing is actually because this thing here I could screw off. But that's the only thing. And here you see the threads inside this thing here as well. And on here you can actually see, now it can't be seen on the camera, but can be seen with actual eyes, that there are remains of glue. So, yeah. But this thing here, it's a pity though, because it's a really wonderful weapon to hold. Remember during the convention when it was too hot, because let's face it, it was 30 degrees outside, which is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. And when you're from Scandinavia, you're used to the cold, not hot weather. So during the convention, I actually went there in the Jedi robe with in 30 degrees and such, and I was boiling. Like, I was literally boiling. I think it could almost be seen through the Jedi robe how much I was sweating in it. Thing is, though, that it also insulated enough that not too much actually came in, but I remained in the shade for the most of the time. But apart from that, it was hot. It was really hot. So what I did during the convention, in daylight at least, was the fact that I only used the belt, because then I could also have a water bottle with me without actually having to hold it all the time. And then I could also have the lightsaber with me just in case I met someone that, for example, would be dressed as a Sith. Fact of the matter is that actually happened. So there was a guy dressed up as Kylo Ren during the convention, and he unfortunately had a defect lightsaber that he had been trying to make himself, so it didn't work. But he had it with him anyway, or at least the prop, not the blade. So I snuck up behind him. That was fortunately in the Jedi robe. I snuck up behind him and then activated the lightsaber with full volume and everything. And that was fun. So, unfortunately, though, as I said, he didn't have the blade with him. He only had the lightsaber hilt itself as a prop. So, that was a bit sad. But at the same time, that's how it is. If you're not an expert at working with little components and all that in general, then you are getting into some pretty deep water if you're trying to mess with it. Which is also why I'm a bit iffy about trying to fix the lightsaber, because if it doesn't work after, then I should have just let it be. Or spoken to a professional. So, besides, I'm going to need a heating gun in order to actually get the glue to unstick itself, which is going to be another problem, because I don't have one. So, could always leave it on the engine of my car, though, after it's been running. No, makes sense. Oh, that's a bad idea. When I start getting these ideas, that's a sign that I'm tired. May the force be with you, Katie, and thank you for watching the stream and for staying here so long. I think it's also time that I really get going, because when I start getting funny ideas, it's bad. Trust me. I have blown a few things up in my time. in a controlled environment, of course. Thank you. So, I would like to thank you all so much for watching, and if you liked the stream here, or if you're curious about other videos that I've made through time, through 9 years of YouTubing, in 4 days from the upload of this, actually 3 days from the upload of this video, I will have been on YouTube, or will have been active on YouTube for 9 years, 18th of September 2009. So there should be quite a lot of content, over 150 videos. Now, as I said, if you like the video, do leave a like, do subscribe if you haven't already, and remember to click the bell button to become part of the Zirka Legion. So, I would like to wish you all a great day, morning, night, evening, wherever in the galaxy you are, and may the Force be with you. Always.